two investigations, two presidents, as President Biden and former President Donald Trump are being investigated for their handling of classified documents. The White House points out the two cases are different, especially since Trump had more than 10 times the number of documents at Mar-a-Lago, and he refuses to fully cooperate. We wanted to see how all of this is resonating with voters, and that's why we have assembled this panel of Democrats, Republicans, and independents to hear what they think. I'm going to start with Alon. Alon, you're a Democrat. What did you think when you heard about the Biden documents and how the White House is handling it?
Yeah, I thought that it was pretty shocking about how the White House was handling, but I thought that they handled the situation completely appropriate. They were cooperating with the Department of Defense or the Department of Justice, and they did things the right way, unlike the Trump administration, where they basically hid away and had to get a subpoena for the documents to be came up with. But I do believe that the Biden administration handled this situation correctly. They turned over documents to the appropriate places when it was time and when they needed to be turned over.
So, Edward, you heard what Alon had to say there. You are a Republican. You served in the military for 23 years, handled classified documents. So what do you think of both cases?
Well, I think not necessarily looking at how they're handling things differently, but what are the similarities? And the similarities are the fact that classified documents were mishandled. And it doesn't matter. No one's above the law, right? And the rules apply to everyone. There's nowhere in the rules of handling classified documents that says that they get to be stored in a garage in your personal residence for more than 6 years, and no one knows where they're at, what they contain, or anything like that. So I don't know if we can say, oh, well, after the crime was committed, the person then turned themselves in and did the right thing or fell on their sword. No, the rules were broken, and both cases need to be handled as such, that the rules were broken, and we need to figure out why that happened and how it happened.
You feel the same way? You have the same energy, though, for documents that were at Mar-a-Lago that the former president said he didn't want to turn back over and that he hid and changed?
So here's how I feel about that, and that is, the national security is bigger than any one person, right? Bigger than any president, vice president, or any of that. And so when we're talking about these documents, if they're not supposed to be in someone's possession, then that's the bottom line. And so we have to follow the rules.
Okay, great. So, Jen, I want to bring you in here. Jen, you're a Democrat. You think that there's a notable difference between what Joe Biden did and what Donald Trump did regarding the classified documents. So how do you see it?
So I definitely agree that while it is wrong that both presidents had access to these documents, the way that they handled it shows the distinct differences between the two. When you look at the timeline with Donald Trump and these classified documents, the National Archives and Records Administration was the one that reached out to Trump's attorneys to let them know, hey, we're missing some documents. You know, let's cooperate, let's get this going. And it took the better part of a year, to which Trump refused to hand over these documents. And that's what led to the raid at Mar-a-Lago. And mind you, a special counsel has been appointed. It's gone through these procedures, but Trump has held on for dear life and said, no, 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 and kind of stuck his head in the sand about it. But when you look at the Biden timeline, these documents were identified by President Biden's attorneys in November, and they immediately notified the NARA about these documents. Investigations have been held, a special counsel was appointed, they've cooperated fully and worked to make everything right.
Okay, so we've heard from Democrats and Republicans. I want to hear from an independent, because I wonder if independents feel the same way, if people really read that much into the nuances here, if they just think, you know, look, both people did something wrong. Linda, let's bring in you as an independent. How do you feel Biden is handling the documents? Has it changed how you see him?
From what I can tell here in Texas, the president has handled this better than the former president. And the real question is, so what? You know, the independents are sick and tired of all the gamesmanship, gotcha politics. investigative doo-doo shows. It goes on and on and on. Why can't we have depoliticized government? Why are we constantly running a presidential campaign? It's endless war internal to our country, and it's getting old.
My question was, does it change how you view or how you see the current president, the document issue?
Not really, because Biden is a very experienced politician, and he's got good advisors. And the Democrats generally get these things better because they understand governance better than the former president. But does it make him any better to govern? I think that both parties are taking us down these rabbit holes that people are just getting real tired of.
Okay. Tyra, so let's bring you in as a Republican. Do you think either Trump or Biden, if they are found to have broken the law, should they face consequences?
I think when it comes down to the law, yes, they should. However, I would like to add that this idea that Biden is handling it better, I think it's kind of silly, because right now he controls the narrative. They control the narrative with the DOJ at his fingertips, at the fingertips of the administration. I understand that there's a special counsel, all this, but when you make a spectacle out of so to answer your question, yes, it should be. But at the end of the day, they made a spectacle out of President Trump for political reasons. Like Linda was saying, they're trying to take him down the rabbit hole for campaign purposes. And now it's happening to him. Well, they get to control the DOJ. They get to control everything they're saying. So, of course, the DOJ is going to say, oh, yeah, they've been very cooperative. Well, yeah, that's their side. They're on their own side saying that. So I don't really trust the narrative that's coming out about that.
Elaine, let me bring you in as an independent. You voted for Joe Biden in 2020. If Joe Biden announces that he is running for president again in 2024, would this be a reason for you not to vote for him again?
Along with a lot of other things, we need somebody else. I mean, we've had right now it looks like the two front runners are basically a replay of 2020, and we can do better than this.
It seems like you want to change. I'm wondering, though, if the document thing was were you thinking this before the document issue, or is this something that the document issue leads you to the point that you're at now, that we need a change, we need different candidates in 2024?
The document issue strongly reinforces that sentiment.
Let's just say, just for the purposes of this interview, if it is Joe Biden and Donald Trump in 2024, would you voted for Biden in 2020? Who would you vote for in 2024 if the two candidates are the same, Trump versus Biden?
I would not vote for Trump. I know that much.
Right.
I would be really hoping there's a third alternative.
Okay. So the document issue for you really reinforced it, that you think there should be a change. Well,
it reinforces, yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, Edward. Thank you, Tyrus, Alon, Jen, Linda. We appreciate you joining us. This was great. You guys be well.